All right, we're live. Cool. We're live and we're on time. And we have G.I. Joe stuff to talk about. But let's give everyone a minute to actually show up so we can have somebody to talk with. While folks are showing up. Hello, Jason. Get my windows all aligned here on my screen. Welcome, Jason. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. This should be fun. I've been looking forward to this live stream, so I'm excited to get started. Hello, Sparkster. They've cast Scarlett in the Snake Eyes movie. Yes, exactly. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. We have some movie news. Hello, Roguish Paladin. Good timing. Hello, Green Yeti. I'm not gonna lie. As we get more movie news coming in, I'm feeling more like the movie is actually happening. So I'm allowing myself to be a little bit more excited about it. So I've been enjoying the steady flow of movie news about Snake Eyes. I still don't know if that's going to mean that it'll be a good movie or not, but whether it is or it isn't, it's still just kind of fun to see G.I. Joe in the news. Hello, Leah and J.K. Siege. Hello, WWJD85 and Chad. Thank you, WW, about the review of Joe Colton. Actually, that's what I wanted to start out with, is to talk about the most recent review. One of the reasons I like doing live streams is because I can interact more and get like real-time, talk about the most recent video, and then often I forget to talk about it, so I'll try to do better about that. Hello, Joe Motion Videos 82. Hi, Byron. Thanks for joining. Reptile Leary, thanks for being here. Hello, James White and Mark Hoke. Hi, Curtis and Paul. All right, cool. Gang's all here. So, yes, 46 Zone. Yes, it looks like they are actually doing the movie. So, I've been very cautious about my optimism for a long time, even to the point where I wasn't sure that the thing was actually going to come off. But it seems like they're actually doing it. So I'm going to allow myself to feel a little bit more optimistic about it. Yes. So we have. I wanted to talk about the most recent video. I wanted to talk about G.I. Joe movie news, and then I just wanted to talk with you guys. To see how things are going. Hello, Brandon Knight. Nice to see you. Let's see. What classic G.I. Joe vehicles would you like to see released for the new Snake Eyes movie? Okay. Hear me out for a second. I would really like to see maybe a much better iteration of the Ninja Lightning motorcycle, okay? Just hold on. Just hear me out. Ninja's motorcycles, that could be pretty cool. But the Ninja Lightning was a pretty crappy toy. So they could do it like a Ninja Lightning, maybe that comes with a Snake Eyes figure, but do it in a way that's not crappy. That's one that I'd go for. Hello, Jeffrey. Welcome to the community. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Hello, Alec. Thanks for joining. Exploding helicopters. So yes. Welcome, everyone. Rob, I think I missed you, but hello. Yeah. So first thing, I got to start out by saying, it was a real trip for me to have Joe Colton and Mike from What's on Joe Mind in my video. that is kind of a full circle moment for me, because the first time I had ever heard of What's on Joe Mind was at JoeCon. I went to their panel, and honestly, I didn't know what the panel was, but I had been walking around a lot, and I was tired, and so I wanted to go into a panel so I could sit down, and I ended up really enjoying it, and then I had to learn more about What's on Joe Mind. So there are a lot of excellent G.I. Joe podcasts out there, not the least of which is G.I. Joeberg, which I think is fantastic, and I never miss an episode. What's on Joe Mind has been going for a really long time, and they have covered a ton of G.I. Joe media and news, and to have the What's on Joe Mind gang on my show was a really special moment for me. What's on Joe Mind is a G.I. Joe podcast, and Comic Trope sends a super chat. Thank you. You'll become the most popular G.I. Joe outlet in 2020. That's my prediction. Hasbro, where's my check? Hasbro, come on. Come on, YouTuber gotta make a living. Come on, Hasbro. Where's my kickback? Hello, the Major Pain. Nice to see you in Yorktown, Joe. How'll he do? Let's see. Jason Karras, Joe Colton figure, waist piece doesn't fit the leg, stretches the O-ring a little from all the samples I've seen. Mine are in pretty pristine and new shape, so I wouldn't know about that. So Johan and Agnetha, hello. I don't have any peanuts, but thanks for asking. I'll get some next time. So yes, I was honored to have Mike and Joe on the show, and really thrilled and appreciative that they did it. And they're both busy, and they both took the time to do it, and so I just can't say enough about those guys. So thank you to both of them. And I thought it would be fun to review that particular figure, because I mean, like I said in the video, the figure itself is quite plain, and it has that weird thing with the shoulders, right, where the arms are attached like down here. That's weird. But if you look past, the plastic and look at what it represents, it's that one figure is connected to many, many aspects of G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe fandom. And that's what I was trying to point out, and hopefully I got across. And I think that's the bigger story about that figure. That's the lead story, if you want to talk about that figure, is all of the connections that figure has. To me, that's more important than the actual figure itself. The figure itself is fine, except for the weird shoulders. Comic tropes, except for the shoulders. Human Mechanism, how do you do? The Cobra Rat will be the only vehicle in the new film. That'd be... There you go. There's your answer. That's the classic vehicle I want them reissuing with the movie figures. Give me a modern Cobra Rat. Why hasn't that happened already? Thank you, Chris Gatliff. Thank you very much. Mark, would I consider redoing a Cobra Law review? I would think about it, but for those who like Cobra Law and think that I will be nicer about it, you're definitely mistaken. So if you like Cobra Law and you want me to take another look at it in the hopes that I will have changed my mind in some way, that's not something you should expect. One thing that hello, Cujo. Thanks for joining, Cujo. One thing that I didn't do in that video, the Cobra Law review, that I wish that I had, is something that I try to do now is I want to kind of qualify my opinions and make sure that people understand that my opinions are only my opinions, and one of the things that I've tried to always do is respect other people's opinions about these toys. They are toys. We should be allowed to have different opinions about them, even if they're really strong opinions. So I don't think I conveyed that very well in that video. And there are a lot of people that like Cobra Law and like the movie, and I hear from them all the time. And I respect the people who have the strength of character to watch my videos and listen to what I have to say, even if they don't agree. That's great. You know, that's I think that shows a great strength of character to not require people to agree with you all the time. So in that respect, I don't think I conveyed that in my Cobra Law review. But if you're thinking that I somehow like Cobra Law more than I did back then, I don't think you would be getting that out of a redo. Armor Magnus says, since Joe Colton review paying more attention to the shoulder problem, noticed it on the review of Slithor. Yeah, see, the shoulder thing, I think it happened more often in figures where there was some kind of a gimmick, and the Slithor figure, the Manimal figure, had a gimmick, but there's really no reason for it to be like that on like a standard articulation figure, so I'm not sure exactly how that came about. Oh, Joe, thank you, Joe. Joe is not sending me real guns. He's sending me something that he's been working on with accessories. Thanks, Joe. And no, don't worry about it. You got to take care of yourself. You really, and I mean that, not just for you, but for everybody. You know, taking care of your own health is always going to be a higher priority than this stuff. The Cobra Law movie is coming. You know what? Okay, I was thinking about this. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about movie news now, but it segues into it. Ryan Sweeney says, hello from Burton, I can't talk. Burton, Michigan. Hello, Burton from the United States. I've been thinking about how to approach this Snake Eyes movie. And I want to do it. I want to approach the movie in the fairest way possible. And tattoo is doing fine. I'm almost done with the cleaning regimen, finally. But I know that it's not going to be like Larry Hama universe Snake Eyes. I mean, that's clear from the casting. So it would be unfair to go into the movie and measure it against that. So I'm going to see the movie. In fact, I think I will probably see the movie more than once, at least twice, I think, before I'll even comment on it, because I want to make sure that whatever it is I think about it is that I'm certain about it. Hello, Burley Sauce and Mr. Con 3X. From Argentina. Greetings, Argentina, from the US of A. Which palette is watching? Thanks, Leah. Anyway, so I'm going to try to go into the movie and look at it from... I mean, I can't separate myself as a fan. I still bring my fandom with me. But I want to at least view it one time from the perspective of somebody who is new and somebody who is not familiar with the material, and see what I think of it from that perspective. And that's not easy to do, to try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and consume entertainment. But I'm going to try, because I want to try to see what I might think if it was totally new for me, and if I would think that it's good from that perspective. So that's what I'm going to do. MC. So let's see if I can look it up, if they have it here. Next year, of course, Expected release date October 16, 2020. So almost exactly 1 year from today. 1 year from tomorrow, actually. It is as part of my personal philosophy. I feel that it's necessary to always give anything in question a fair hearing and to approach it fairly. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to view this movie in the fairest possible light. And whether I like it or not, I will be completely and frank and honest about it. And if I end up not liking the movie, that's what I'm going to tell you. But I'm not an excessively cynical person. I'm excited to have a G.I. Joe movie on the horizon. So I think it's unlikely that I will completely hate the movie. I will probably at least like some parts of it. So we'll see what I think of it. And if I don't like it, then that's what I'll say. I'll say I don't like it. If I do like it, then that's what I'll say. But more importantly than that is if a general audience likes it. Because if the movie is popular, even if it's not something that I particularly like, but if the movie is popular, then that opens up a lot of possibilities for other kinds of G.I. Joe, other animated forms of G.I. Joe, other forms of G.I. Joe that are maybe more like what we are accustomed to. If you have a popular movie, if you have a movie out there that strikes a chord with the general audience, then the checkbooks start to open. And then you can see, all the things that people say that they've been wanting, different scales of G.I. Joe, a new G.I. Joe animated series, stuff like that, then you can talk about it at least. But if the movie is not successful, then you don't count on seeing any of that. In fact, I know they've been talking about rolling this into an actual proper G.I. Joe movie, ensemble cast and a team movie, which I hope they do. But if this movie is not successful, I'm not sure we'll even see that. So that's my hope, is that I will hope to get a movie that I really like, but I will also be looking at what the critics are saying about it, if it's getting any positive buzz. I'll be looking at the box office, and I'll be looking at if this is gonna kindle something that will make some other things possible. Comic Trope says Hoodie Coco should illustrate a G.I. Joe story for IDW. I think that would be fun, but I think, what I would have a problem with is the backgrounds. I haven't really practiced drawing buildings and vehicles and these important things. I'd really have to knock the dust off. But I do enjoy drawing, and I enjoy drawing G.I. Joe in particular. Mark is going to bed due to dental surgery. Well, get well soon. But thank you for joining us. Hello, Photo Viper. I don't think I said hi to you. Hello, Ava. And James. I'm sorry, you guys. Some of you guys have snuck in, and I didn't get to say hi. So, based on the casting the casting news that we've heard, obviously they're changing some of the Snake Eyes story that we're familiar with. We kind of always knew that they would do that, but they are doing that. But the fact that they have cast someone for Scarlet, and that was, let's see, so they've cast Scarlet, Samara Weaving, okay, and so we are expected to have Scarlet, right? They cast somebody for the Baroness. which means the Baroness should be part of the story. And as you may recall from the comic book series, the Baroness was actually tied into part of Snake Eyes' origin. And they have cast the Hardmaster, they've cast Storm Shadow, and so even though they are changing some things about it, the casting news makes me think they may not be changing as much as we might have originally thought. They are actually bringing in a lot of the elements that are familiar to us. We'll have to see how that plays out, how they use those elements. But the casting news suggests that maybe it's not going to be quite as different as everybody's thinking it is. So I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Is Zartan going to be in the Snake Eyes movie? I don't know. If he is, there have been some actors cast in roles that they haven't specified what the role is, so it's possible that Zartan may be in one of those roles. Yeah, Stalker and Fred. That's the other thing I've mentioned before, is I'm curious how they link the Snake Eyes story to the larger G.I. Joe story. How do they make that bridge? In the comic book, Stalker was that bridge. So what in the movies, what's going to be that bridge? How are they going to make that connection? I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious. A Firefly in his neon green suit. In fact, if Firefly is not in the movie in the neon green suit, I demand my money back. Anyway, so we'll see. I'm actually getting a little more optimistic the more the news comes in. So, of course we can't know until it actually comes out and we see it, but I'm feeling a little better about it. Hello, Rezakai. Nice to see you. What was I going to say about that? I think that covers the movie news that I was wanting to make sure to cover. Yeah, but the other news was there was some Rob Liefeld art that hit recently, some artwork for sale, artwork that he did for his upcoming G.I. Joe series. I think it's a mini-series. It's not a one-shot, right? He's doing more than one issue, I thought. Trek Reviewer, secret hideout production company behind the G.I. Joe movie. I don't know. However, I am suspicious about the timing of the news releases, because we're still getting news about certain new cast members, and we also learned that filming supposedly is starting now. So I think it's unlikely that they have started filming and they're still piecing their cast together. So I'm thinking that these cast members had already been added, but we're learning about it, a little bit at a time. Will Snake Eyes and Scarlet have a romance? That's another thing that I'm really curious to see. I suspect yes, and I kind of hope so. Mainly because the Scarlet Duke thing never made any sense to me, and I still don't like it. I understand there are people on Team Duke, and that's fine. In fact, G.I. Joe Resolute, while in many ways being fantastic, and I've praised Resolute on multiple occasions, and I think it's great. One of the things that I did not like about it, and still doesn't sit well with me, is that it decidedly was on Team Duke, and it kind of went about it in a way that kind of was sort of in Snake Eyes' face. Is like right in front of Snake Eyes, Scarlet chooses to stay with Duke, and the implication there is that she's choosing Duke over Snake Eyes, and that's not that cool. I didn't like that too much. Again, in an otherwise really great animated series, awesome. So I'm hoping that they go more in in the comic book direction as regards to relationships. Yeah, Scarlet and Ripcord. If they don't have Scarlet and Ripcord married by the last scene, I'm demanding my money back. Yeah, I don't really trust leaked scripts. That's rarely accurate. Cujo, is anyone excited for a Liefeld G.I. Joe? I'm glad you asked, Cujo, because I actually wanted to talk about that as well. That's the other topic I wanted to make sure to cover. Because I have to kind of approach the Liefeld G.I. Joe in the same way I approached the movie. Being that it may not be to my liking personally, but there's no denying that Rob Liefeld is popular. Was and still is. He's got a lot of fans. And whether I personally like it or not, it raises the profile of G.I. Joe in an important way, and an important medium that could be good for the visibility and the profile of the brand. So, in that regard, again, I hope it's popular. I hope a lot of people like it. I hope it gets people to take another look at G.I. Joe and maybe see what else is out there. And I think that's more important than whether I personally like Rob Liefeld's artwork. Action figure expert is hustling, apparently. So yeah, that's my. I guess that's going to be my approach. I think it's going to be more likely that I will like the movie than I will like the Liefeld comic book. You know, I'm just going to go say it. There's almost 100% chance I will like the movie more than I will like the Liefeld comic book. But nonetheless, I hope that both get an audience. I hope both of them find the right people that will enjoy them, and maybe turn people on to G.I. Joe that haven't looked at it for a while. Alex Tuttle says, remember Saw Viper's ridiculous gun being wielded by a character in a Liefeld associated book. Yeah, Liefeld apparently is a G.I. Joe fan. Snake Eyes teabags Cobra Commander at the end. Yeah, that's... the rating might be different than we expected. Liefeld has swiped some images from G.I. Joe comics on more than one occasion, so at least we know that he's read them. If he does some community interviews leading up, HCC Liefeld live stream, an intriguing idea. Hadn't thought of it. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm the most qualified person to interview Rob Liefeld. I'll admit that as a young person, I got kind of caught up in the popularity of like a lot of those X artists on all the X books, of which Liefeld was one. But then I kind of gravitated more toward Jim Lee, and I'm still more of a fan of Jim Lee. I like his work then, and I like his work now. And that would be my dream team up, is a Larry Hama G.I. Joe comic book drawn by Jim Lee. I would pay all the dollars for that. I don't care if it's just one issue. That is something that I would love to see. Comic Trope says Liefeld traced a Roadblock a comic cover for an early appearance of Cable. Yes, I remember that. And I recognized it at the time. At the time, I said, hey, hang on a second. I've seen that before. Snake Eyes movie will take us to Cobra Law. See, all right. And there's a good example, right? If if they did a Cobra Law movie, there's no way I would like that. But if they did a Cobra Law movie that was popular and got people talking about G.I. Joe, then there's more of an opportunity that there will be a form of G.I. Joe that I will like. So, there you go. But even so, I don't think it's going to lead us to down the Cobra Law path. I don't think it'll go there. Rob Liefeld created X-Force. Yeah, I remember when X-Force #1 came out, and before that I remember New Mutants. And, I was just in the perfect demographic, the perfect age to get into those X books at that time. So, yeah. G.I. Joe Law, I'd like to see Tony Daniel do a G.I. Joe book. Action figure expert, want to see Snow Job and Blowtorch in the... I see where you're going there. I see where you're going. I'll just leave that there. Superhero shows, Netflix, Hulu, surprised they're not going down that road with G.I. Joe. Dave, I think that is, if we have one or two reasonably popular movies, I think that's more of a possibility. There's so much to G.I. Joe lore that it's almost maybe impossible to tell the whole story in a movie or even a series of movies. I don't know that you could even do a trilogy and cover everything, or even close to everything. So a series like that, I think, would be interesting, and I think I'd probably enjoy that even more than movies. But they won't do anything like that. Unless G.I. Joe's making money again. Something from G.I. Joe has got to make money again before they'll look at sinking a bunch of money into a TV show or an animated series or a video game, stuff like that. It's G.I. Joe got to make money again. That's just the business. That's the reality. Netflix show heavily based on the comics would be awesome. Yeah, that would be wicked cool. And I've missed some of your live chats. I'm sorry about that. I don't read that fast. But thanks everyone for being here. That's awesome. I wanted to make sure that I talked about the movie news. I wanted to make sure I talked about the Rob Liefeld news. I wanted to talk about the most recent video. And I've covered all that, so I guess we're done. All right, good night, everyone. See you later. I'm just kidding. I guess that means we get to hang out and chill out for a little while, because we still got like half an hour to go. I will remind everyone that I'm taking this coming week off. So there won't be a new review this Sunday, but there will be a new video. It won't be a review, but it'll be something else. But I just needed the extra time. That last video was a monster. It was big, and it ended up taking more time than I was expecting. So, yeah, I just needed the extra week. Paul Covey says, why don't the producers just make an animated feature? Because nobody would watch it. I'm sorry, that just wouldn't be popular. Sorry. That's not the era that we live in today. And anyway, Netflix series involving Dreadnoks encountering Jason Voorhees. Actually, that does having a series like that is your best chance to get Dreadnoks. The movies haven't even really been able to approach the Dreadnoks. And, the way the Dreadnoks are positioned in the lore, it's connected to some other things, right? So the Dreadnoks are connected to Zartan and his family. And so you really need to establish Zartan in order for the Dreadnoks to make sense. You got to be able to tell a deeper story. Now, they tried to establish Zartan a bit in the two movies that we got, but the Zartan that they had did not really go in that direction. It didn't really lend itself to moving in the direction of Dreadnoks. So I think you'd have to tell a longer and deeper story in order to have Dreadnoks, and I'd really love to see some Dreadnoks. So that's the kind of thing that a series would be able to do. And a lot of people have said that they want an animated series or an animated movie, and I just don't think that's likely. I would point back to Resolute, which is an animated show, some episodes at least, that I thought was done really well. In fact, it's probably been done as well as any G.I. Joe animation has ever done. And it gave us something really cool to look at, right? I love it, and I think it's fantastic. But look at what it did not do, though. What it did not do is it did not create like a huge groundswell of G.I. Joe popularity and bring G.I. Joe back into the mainstream spotlight. And I don't think it was designed to do that. It is almost designed to be like a love letter to us, right? It was a special thing for the fans that I think most G.I. Joe fans really enjoyed. But outside of the G.I. Joe fandom, I don't think you're going to find a lot of people really thinking very much about it. And so that's something that to keep in mind, that animation is not the popular draw that it once was, unless it's like Pixar and it's like family entertainment kind of thing, which is not really the tone that you would probably want to strike with a G.I. Joe movie. I really think that live action is, at least for now, is the way to go. But like I said, if you want animation, the live action's got to make money. That's bottom line. Until G.I. Joe's making money, it ain't going to be a cartoon. Renegade Biker says, I think there's a display company in Tulsa, so it is in your area. Have you looked at it? A display company? I'm not sure. I guess I haven't, since I don't know. I am going to try to approach it in as positive an attitude as I can. Hopeful that it will be successful. Hopeful that it will spark some resurgence. Hopeful that it will spin off into other forms of G.I. Joe that more of us might appreciate. Brandon, that's anime, and that's a totally different audience. That is not. I'm sure there's some crossover, but very little crossover there. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to whether the movie is successful or not. For a while, G.I. Joe is going to be in the news. When they get this movie closer to release, they're going to start doing press. They're going to start doing interviews, and that is going to be really exciting to me. I'm really looking forward to having, the popular media, the mainstream media, talking about G.I. Joe again. That's really exciting. So I'm going to ride that wave, even if the movie doesn't turn out to work. I'm still going to enjoy that. Because right now, G.I. Joe is like, it's been a while since we've been relevant. And as much as I enjoy, I'll always enjoy G.I. Joe. And, you can't change my G.I. Joe. My G.I. Joe was back in the 80s. So there's nothing that can happen that that can take that away from me. I always have that. But you know, I would kind of like G.I. Joe to have a little bit of the spotlight. Other properties from that era have had the spotlight, and I think it's G.I. Joe's turn. I think it's I think it's time. It's time. So anyway, that's I think that covers everything that I was thinking about for the movie. On the opening weekend, I will see it at least a couple times before I come back and talk about it. I want to make sure that I've cemented my thoughts about it in my mind. For some reason, Green Yeti is going mudda 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 mudda. Hero Academia made G.I. Joe reference to a character named Destro. Okay, that's interesting. There's 8702 East 11th Street. All right, that's north, and that's pretty far north and west. Anyway, I'll have to check that out later. I love the 80s era of action figures and cartoons. Of course, me too. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. He's speaking Japanese. I disagree. I do not believe that translates into anything. We're talking about He-Man. Now, there's an interesting thing, too. He-Man. That's another one that's been in the spotlights. Sony will sell He-Man to Netflix. That's what I had read that they were doing. Kaylee Commendador, that's kind of my attitude. I mean, it's not really possible to ruin my G.I. Joe, and I gotta be honest, I'll respect anybody's honest and opinion that they have about the movie. If they're just being a jerk about it and not giving it a fair shot, I have no reason to respect that. But any honest opinion, whether you like it or not, I absolutely will respect it. But if people are going to start complaining about anything destroying their childhood, I'm just not going to have a whole lot of sympathy for that. In fact, if that's what it comes down to, send me your address and I'll send you some Pampers, because that's just we don't do that around here. I feel like Green Yeti is quoting something. So, anyway, there is some G.I. Joe news, believe it or not. And I want to try to cover the news more regularly. Honestly, there have been some updates that I just haven't talked about at all on the live stream, but I'd like to do that here so we can kind of discuss it a little bit, and also make sure that people are updated, because some folks might not have heard about it or read about it. Okay. Anyway, yeah. All right. I'm not completely understanding what's going on in the live chat because I've missed some of it. Sorry, you guys. I'm not reading that fast. But at any rate, I'll try to talk about the news, and apparently the news will start coming faster because reportedly they're filming. They're in production now. Yes, Yorktown Joe, Diagnostic 80, thank you. On the Full Force podcast, on their YouTube channel, they're fantastic about keeping up to date on the news. Thank you for pointing that out, Yorktown Joe. Absolutely correct. And I'm a fan of the Full Force. Great guys. Diagnostic 80, great guy. That's a good source to keep up with it. But anyway, so we got like 15 minutes left. I don't know what to do. I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. There's not enough time to do a Find Your Fate book. What have I got around here? I don't have anything I can show you. I can't show you anything that's here because the stuff that's out here is for the next review. I do have the next review written. Here it is right here. There's my notes right here. If anyone wants a preview of what the next video is, there it is. Yeah, I had more faith in my ability to talk longer. So, hello, Robert Monty. Nice to see you. Robert got the sketch. Thank you, Robert. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I still got a couple sketches I need to get out. If I owe you a sketch, I'm working on it. It's been difficult to find the time to draw, but I will not forget. I will not forget. I will get it to you. Drinking contest. I have some watery Pepsi here. There was that one time I was drinking for dollars. That was kind of fun. But I don't have anything in here to drink for dollars. I got some disinfectant wipes. I could just kind of chew on those. But I like all this. I have stuff around me that I would love to show you, but I can't because it's like literally is for the video that I'm going to be recording, and I don't like to spoil it. Let's see. Did you see G.I. Joe's video on the Arma 3 mods that the guy created of Joe and Cobra vehicles? I missed that video. Thank you, Gaz, for pointing that out. That video hit when I was not available to watch it, and then I didn't come back to it. That's why I didn't share it. I usually share their videos. So, okay. Yeah, another thing on the agenda, I've got to catch up on Joe Berg's videos. Green Yeti, you're too young to pop the champagne and vodka and shots. You can't do that. Not for a few more years. I will not take off my clothes, Bad Ape, but thanks for thanks for looking out for me. Skyhawk, cool. Brandon is learning to speak Klingon. That is okay. I know that's super nerdy, but I've always wanted to learn to speak Klingon, and I never did. So that's still kind of cool. And I like Star Trek. I should do that. I've kind of committed to working on G.I. Joe stuff. I don't really have a lot of time to go like look at the other things that I'm interested in as much as I would like to. Welsh's Sparkling Grape for Leah as well. So, you know, that you got to have something for the teetotalers. Now, Joe Fest 2020, next year I will be there. I still encourage everyone to meet up at the hotel bar afterward. Everyone who's old enough to legally. And we will get some drinks, but not everybody has to drink an alcoholic beverage. Not everybody has to drink an adult beverage. Not everybody should. So if that's not your thing, then other things are available. But still, I hope that you will come and socialize. What I've been trying to do the last couple years at JoeCon and Joe Fest, and which I haven't quite been able to coordinate, is to do a lunch. Like, go to lunch and meet everybody for, like, a group lunch. But the coordination never quite works out. So maybe I can do it next year. And for those who don't want to meet in the bar, we can have a social gathering over some food or something. So that could be fun. The Klingons run great parties at conventions. I'll bet they would. The blood wine flows like water. Good to know your fellow Trekkie names number should have given it away. Oh yeah, 1701, of course. And for everybody, I'm going to give away top secret information here. At our county courthouse on one of the floors, I won't say which one, one of the copy machines has a PIN code that you have to enter in order to make copies, and the PIN code is 1701. So I've just let you know how to make some illicit photocopies at the county courthouse, if you can find that particular copier. Chris says, have I ever been to Lawton? I have. It's been a long time since I've been to Lawton, but yeah, I think I've been to most parts of Oklahoma, maybe not every town, except for the Panhandle. I don't think I've ever made it up to the Panhandle, except maybe on a couple occasions driving through, headed towards somewhere else. Road trip. Yeah, I like Star Trek. I think Susan, Mrs. HCC, I think she's a bigger Star Trek fan than I am. About once a year or so, she will start Next Generation and watch all of the whole series again, and then start with Deep Space Nine and watch that whole series. So we have marathoned both of those series more than once. Hello, Tony Jackson. Hey, he's already making copies. All right. Courthouse is closed. Somehow he got in. January 7th, 2001. But that's only with the American date convention. If you're in Britain, then it's different. Burned my hand on the Panhandle. Well, it can get hot out there. Has Susan been watching Discovery? She hasn't been, mainly because I only recently got CBS All Access, and at the moment she's in the middle of another show, so she might get around to it after she finishes the show that she's watching now. We're at the moment we're kind of at capacity for TV shows. We got to finish something before we can watch something else. And Trek Reviewer, what do I think of Discovery? I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. I'll have to watch it. And truthfully, with this particular hobby, I do not have the time to watch shows that I wish that I had. So a lot of these shows I end up watching like down the road after the fact, after everybody else has kind of seen them and done talking about them. That's about when I finally get to watch them. So I'm trying. Bad Ape says, am I going to watch Picard? I really want to watch Picard. I'm going to try to actually see that one when it hits. I've said that before and then I've failed, but I'm going to try to see it when it actually comes out, if possible. But whether I can see it when it comes out or not, Susan almost certainly will. I don't think she'll miss it. Coming out soon. So, Bad Ape, do you ever want to see an animated G.I. Joe Transformers? Well, I'm not big on the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. It's not something that I necessarily need. But if you're going to do it, I would rather see it in animated form than in live action form. I think I would be more likely to enjoy it in that kind of format. And hey, as we stated before, if we have a popular movie on our hands, then the possibility of something like that happening is greater. So if that is something you want to see, you better knock on wood and hope that the larger general audience likes Snake Eyes. Trek Reviewer says, when you watch Discovery, bring the booze. I was going to anyway. So, can do. Done and done. Yeah, we are getting close to the 8 o'clock hour, my time. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Oh, Painted Plastic, I don't think I said hello to you. And Lazarus. Lots of folks have kind of snuck in, and I haven't said hello. So hello, now that we're almost over, hello. And I'm not running that through Google Translate, Green Yeti. I'm not doing it. Bad Ape, next month be sober 4 years. Congratulations. I understand how difficult that is, and that's a great accomplishment. That's a great accomplishment. Do not give that up for anything. And absolutely, if anything that I do or anything on this that is done on this channel in any way shakes your strength on that, then I would rather you not watch that. I don't want to trigger anything for someone who has worked that hard to be sober. So, well done, sir. And I've got a lot of respect for that. Yeah, Painted Plastic is here. Dig that. Let's see, I'm going to be working on a 3D movie of G.I. Joe when I get more figures. Hey, that'd be cool. Yeah, in the meantime, whether the movie's good or not, we're still making stuff. Some of the stuff that G.I. Joeberg has done, their action scenes with the figures is brilliant. I love it. I could watch that all day. You can make a movie of that. I'd watch that. Robbie says, go Astros, go MLB. We should meet in Tulsa to see Snake Eyes. Now, that would be an intriguing idea. Let me think about that. I hadn't thought about that. There's a year to plan it. Yeah, it's an intriguing idea, Doug. I don't know if I will do that, but there might be some local folks or some folks that might drive in to see the showing. I'll think about it. Yeah, MCDJ ACDC. It amazes me how Joeberg is able to get acting out of plastic figures, but they do it, and it's amazing. Tracker Viewer says, go Yankees. Go any team that you want. It's fine with me. Agnetha says, take pictures of your G.I. Joes, put captions, make a comic out of it. That's a cool idea. Since you brought it up, generalsjoes.com. The diorama stories on generalsjoes.com are great. There's a whole saga there. And that's another thing that I was turned on to by listening to What's on Joe Mind. So if you've not read the Dio stories on generalsjoes.com, you should absolutely check that out. Really amazing stuff. Especially if you like 90s G.I. Joe, there's a lot of 90s love in those stories. But, generalsjoes.com. There is an updated site, but the old site is still active. Yeah, Justin Bell he's kind of revived General's Joe's, but the old site is still at generalsjoes.com, and that's where the Dio stories are. And so, check him out. Those will keep you busy for a while, because he was doing them for years and years. But he was actually able to do a complete story and actually wrap it up. Photo Viper knows. If you haven't had a chance to, it's a treat. Check out generalsjoes.com and check out the Dio stories. Yes, Yorktown Joe, General's Joe's. I'm sorry, I got to say it right. General's Joe's Reborn is the news site that's currently being updated. So check that out. Hey, that's another great source for news and updates. So that's cool. So anyway, okay, it's time. It is 8 o'clock by my clock. Thank you everyone for showing up. I am going to scare up some dinner because I haven't eaten yet. Let's see. Robert Monty, quick question: custom paint job on Rolling Thunder or leave it the way it is? Now that's a good question. I guess it depends on what the paint job is. Depends on what kind of paint job you want. I think it looks great as it is, but you know, some paint detail could be added. So it depends on what you're thinking. I think some of like the colors of the missiles, the yellow, the orange, I don't necessarily love those colors. So it's possible you could do something with the Rolling Thunder that might improve it. But even so, I think it's pretty good the way it is. Okay, for real, good night, everyone. Thanks for showing up. We will do this again next week. Thanks for tolerating my ramblings about many things. But I love you guys, and I think you're great. And I just appreciate every one of you being here. But for now, it is dinner time for me, and it is time for me to say goodnight. So I will press this button that will turn this thing off. And bye-bye. See you next week.